So this is normal, right? This is not weird. So I wasn't planning on making a video. I wasn't planning on making a video in the bath. I wasn't planning on making any video at all. I try and put some good into the world if I can. And I think it's really important to. I find that it's incredibly important to. As someone who has a roof over my head, as someone who has people to talk to, as someone who has food to eat and a bed to sleep in, I am the luckiest person on the earth. I really am, and that's before you even think about the other amazing things that I have and the fact that I get to do what I love as a job and things. So I think that I am just unbelievably fortunate. And I know I am. But there are people out there who are sitting outside right now. There are people all over the world, but there are people on your doorstep who are not in the privileged position that you're in. There are people who are down on their luck. There are people who are people like you and I, people who once had a roof over their head or never have. But there are so many people in such shit situations, and I feel like there's a misconception that people think homeless people are careless people, or they're people that have got themselves into these situations through the actions that they have taken. And when you really look into it, when you research it, when you talk to these people, you realise that that is just not the case. And I think a lot of people don't think about it, and it's not in a malicious way. I think that they just don't consider it. They don't even take one look. That's the problem. They don't look at the homeless people. They don't realise that their faces are just the same as yours or mine. They don't realise that they are humans who, a lot of them have worked. A lot of them have had relationships, and they're just like you and I. But things have gone wrong, and a quarter of homeless people are homeless as a result of being LGBTQ+, and others because they've been in abusive situations. Not all of them. I mean, obviously there's a minority of people who make bad decisions, but so do we. We make bad decisions. We fuck up, but we're just fortunate enough that we have a parachute, we have a safety net, we have a support system around us who can pick us up after stupid decisions. And these are just people who don't have that. And I don't want to get preachy, but I'm not someone to, everyone knows by this stage, I'm not someone to get into drama, I'm not someone to try and pick fights, and I'm not someone who likes to pipe up and just argue. I'm someone who picks my battles, but when I do pick my battles, I stick by them. And in December we did a stream raising money for Crisis at Christmas, which is a homeless project, and every time I go out I try and say hello, smile, talk to homeless people. If I can, I buy a big issue, and if I can, I'll buy them something like a hot drink or food. I'll ask them what they need as well if possible, because in some places, I've lived in lots of different places, and some places there's a lot of people caring for homeless people, and that is lovely. The last place I lived in, I saw the same homeless man every day, and I said hello to him, I said good morning, asked him how he was, and we'd have a little chat, and that was always when I go to the post office or whatever. And I was just like, do you want anything from the shop? I'm going. And he's like, no, it's fine, someone's already buying me some Haribo. And that was great, because you know that someone else is already there. Someone has already asked what he wants, and they're getting it. And that is so lovely. But I also have lived in places where homeless people go completely unacknowledged. People just ignore them. People put their heads down and walk away. And I can understand. The thing is, I can understand. I've walked with people who are scared of homeless people. They don't understand them. They don't understand how they're in the situation, and they don't know what they're capable of. They don't know if they're criminals. But they're not. They're not. They just need a bit of love. They just need someone to listen and someone to care. And the place that I live now, there's a lot of homelessness. There is a lot of homelessness. You can't go outside your house for more than like a 5-minute walk without bumping into multiple homeless people. And I'm trying to make a deal. I'm trying to make a deal with myself to try and do at least, as well as saying hello to them and smiling at them and asking how they are and things, because communication is just so necessary. It keeps you sane. As well as that, I'm trying to do at least like a good deed a week for homeless people. And last week I went and I found an app which uses, it basically tries to eliminate waste. So restaurants and cafes which are closing down for the day, they always have leftover stock, and you can go and buy, like you can bulk buy things for a small amount of money. So I went and bought some muffins. Some delicious muffins. Like they had like M&Ms on top and like icing, and oh, they looked amazing. And then I went and handed those out, and I asked the people like, which one would you like? Which do you prefer? What flavour? And the smile on people's faces, like you haven't just made their day, you've extended a hand of friendship. When no one else is talking to you, when the world is against you and you're stuck in your own head, you've offered more than a muffin. You've offered love and compassion and humanity. And then a few days ago I went and took a box of muffins out when I went on a night out and that worked well. And then today when I went out to go and pick up some alcohol, because I just wanted to get some ciders after a couple of stressful days, I walked past a man who was wrapped in a white blanket, and he was visibly broken, distraught. He was sitting there rocking back and forth and shaking, and he was on the verge of tears. And everyone was staring at him. There was a group of people just staring at him, and so I was like, psh, I'm gonna sit down. And so I sat down next to him, and I was just like, excuse me? And he was like, uh-huh. And I just had a chat with him, a human to human chat, and it was like, hello, how are you? And he was saying that he wasn't very good and that he needed to get to this place. And I just had a little chat with him, and I said, okay, well, I was asking why he needed to get there and things like that, and having a little chat with him and trying to understand and just have a conversation. And the more I was talking, the more he eased up, the more he relaxed. And I said, okay, well, I'm gonna pop to the shop and I'll be back in a minute. Would you like anything? And he's like, honestly, no, I just need to get to that place. I don't want anything, I don't need anything else. And you could tell he hadn't eaten, he hadn't drunk, he was so dehydrated that he could barely speak. And I said, are you sure? Because I will happily go get you a drink. And he was like, actually, I really need some water. And I was like, that's fine, that's good, we're getting somewhere. So I went and got him the stuff, I came back, I sat down again, and I was just like, okay, promise me you're gonna stay safe and keep going. And he was just so grateful, and you could tell that was more than just someone offering him a bus fare and a bottle of water. Like that was clearly the only compassion that he'd had in a long time, and he was so grateful, and he couldn't stop thanking me. And it was just, it's great, but you can't fix it all. You can't. I'm one human, and I can do as many charity streams as I can, and I can go and do as many good deeds as I can, but you can't fix it all as Wonder Woman, which is why I'm making this video. Because although you guys know that my YouTube channel is not enormous, but if I can convince one person to take a second look at homeless people, not in like a weird way, not in a creepy way, but just look and talk, ask them. If you're standing right next to a shop, just say, hey, I'm popping in to grab myself something, can I get you a drink, can I get you anything? I know that there is the argument that homeless people will go and spend it on drugs and stuff, and I will get into this in another video if I have to, because I have such strong opinions on this. But all I will say is people need to make their own decisions. If you're that concerned that they're going to go and spend the money that you give them on drugs and stuff, then give them food or drink instead. Water, not alcoholic. But like I said, I'll go into this in another video, but humans They need to be able to make their own decisions. But if I can persuade just one person watching this to go and make someone's day, then I've succeeded, and I'm really, really happy. And I know this has been a long video, and I know it's been a weird naked video in the bath. I'm sorry. But that is all. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you guys are doing really well, and I will see you guys soon. I've got loads of videos coming out because I just moved to a new place. Hello. So you'll be seeing it very soon.